Mr. Speaker, the Democrats in this chamber have shifted over the recent months to talking about affordability in the state. It seems to be something that comes up over and over again. In fact, you've done a couple things which we have called gimmicks, which you claim help with the affordability in the state of New Jersey. But then you do this. This bill will dramatically increase the cost of temporary labor to business. Not a little bit. It will dramatically increase that cost. It's going to have a devastating effect on our economy, and it's going to make New Jersey less affordable. So there's temp workers, by the way, fill a very specific need in the state, and they're very valuable, and they help business to accomplish great things. So the temp workforce is a very important part of our economic ecosystem. They're good for seasonal work. They help businesses with that, business fluctuations, when employees go on leave, and even some short-term projects. But this bill...
Assemblyman, let me remind you that the scope of the objection is limited to the conditional veto itself, not to the bill in its entirety.
Right, but Mr. Speaker, the governor changed the bill in such a way that added increased cost. He made the benefits that were going to be included as part of the package have to be paid out in cash, thereby increasing the overall cost, thereby increasing the cost of the bill.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. So this bill, because it is now so expensive because of the governor's conditional veto, will put the entire industry at risk. Here's two scenarios that I want to just walk by you. The first scenario, let's assume for a second there are 130,000 temporary workers in the state. I believe that number to be significantly low. I've heard numbers as high as 500,000, but let's go with the lowest possible number, 130,000. If this bill increases the hourly cost of those workers by just $2 an hour, which it will do far worse than that, the governor's veto alone increases it by $2 an hour. 130,000 workers times $2 an hour increases the cost to business by $260,000 an hour. $260,000 an hour is $2 million a day. $2 million a day is $540 million a year. And that's on the low end. So let's meet it in the middle. Let's say there's actually 250,000 of these temporary workers a year. That is a cost of $1 billion a year in additional cost to business. Well, if you know anything about business, you will know that those costs will be passed on to the consumer, thereby increasing the price of everything that you buy to account for that $1 billion. So it will make New Jersey less affordable, even in the most conservative estimates. And that's if the temporary workforce remains the same. If business accepts the fact that they're going to have to spend more on temporary workers and is just willing to spend that money and pass it on to the consumer. So that's scenario number one, a potential $1 billion impact to our economy, which will decrease the affordability of the state of New Jersey. Let's go with scenario number two. This is where a small business, which accounts for a majority of these workers, has an employee, a warehouse employee they pay $15 an hour right now. When they need additional labor over the course of the week or the month, they're inclined to get a temp worker because a temp worker costs less than it would cost to pay those employees overtime. So if they need a little bit of extra help, they're going to get a temporary worker to fill that need because they cost less than having their own employee operate on overtime. This bill, because of the governor's conditional veto and the base of the bill, will make a temporary worker more expensive than paying your own worker in time and a half to work overtime, thereby reducing the need to have temp workers in the first place and decreasing the entire industry and putting these temp workers potentially out of work. So in either scenario, we have devastating impacts to our economy and the very people that you're trying to help. This is the type of bill that is based on emotion, not on the math that drives the economics of this state.
I don't think there's any mention of emotion in the governor's CV.
I could feel it, though, sir.
And we can all feel your pain.
Thank you, sir. So I'd like to just conclude with this. Not too long ago, another Assemblywoman in the chamber said that there was a historic commitment to the taxpayer, to helping out the taxpayer by doing these child care credits and other tax credits, but you're shifting the burden, and you're not helping the state of New Jersey. This is a really poor piece of legislation. There's legitimately nobody who likes it besides the 46 people to my right. So please, do us a favor, rethink it, and the one person up there. So do us a favor, rethink this bill, do the right thing for the affordability of our state, put some more thought behind it, and please help us to actually be more affordable. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.